Welcome back. Episode 5. It is definitely starting to hit me that time is moving at a swift pace. So in this episode, we're laying down a lot of glass. We are going through hundreds of dollars of epoxy. And I want to dig in a little bit on why I bought this boat and why I feel that it's right for me and maybe right for other people out there. Supposed to do in all this wind.
I'll let you go, just need some time. At your own pace, you need to find your way. I know now you'll never change your mind for something that matters to me. You do not know what I have in mind. I packed our bags, we'll be on our way. The night was long as I waited without a sign. As I know what matters to you. But what do you want? What's your biggest need? Every hour we spend together, and suddenly the chances are small, just like the lottery. It's been 72 weeks in this town. I still believe I'll see you again. No matter what, I got off the ground for something that matters to me. But what do you want? What's your biggest need? Every hour we spend together, and suddenly the chances are small, just like the lottery. I just hope we could stay together. We wait and see, but the chances are small, just like the lottery.
You know, project boats are a pretty divisive conversation. A lot of people land in a lot of areas on it. Myself, I enjoy getting my hands dirty. I enjoy a big project. I come from a background of, for my age, a good amount of sailing experience, so I'm not looking for something that I can just jump on and go. And that's often what a lot of people's question is why don't you get a normal job and save up your money and buy a boat and go sailing? And to me, to put it simply, I would rather work on this boat than go work a job for someone else. First off, a little bit of backstory. When I bought the boat, it was December of 2019. At the time, I was looking for a boat that was a little more turnkey, and I was thinking about going sailing. And then, I'll spare you the details, but I kind of came to a point where I realized that it's probably just not the right time. There were other things I wanted to do. So I kind of moved on from the boat search, and I started looking a little more long-term. I started kind of getting into a bit more of a dreaming phase as opposed to a planning phase, if you will. I've always been very fond of classic boats, the traditional pilot cutter lines. I love that. I love, traditional rigging. I love the traditional culture. A lot of the sailing traditions, you see it in my tattoos. I have the hold fast on my wrists. So I started to think down those lines, and I had always been fond of the Cape Georges. They kind of fit that mold. They're a modern construction version of everything I just lined out. And one of the things I did was I sent an email to Cape George Marine, and I asked them for a quote on this very boat, a Cape George 36. At the time, I was thinking of essentially building a boat. So I got a quote for a hull and a keel, and that's all it is. There's no deck, and then you finish it and build it out from there. The quote came back at $37,000. So I just kind of cataloged that, put it in the back of my mind, and still was curious. And then literally a few weeks after that, I was just kind of casually looking around on Craigslist, seeing what was out there. And this boat popped up and obviously caught my eye right away. So my wheels started turning. I felt like this is pretty intriguing and interesting timing. I ended up buying it. I was able to get it for less than half of the asking price. There's a common opinion in the sailing world that a cheap boat is a more expensive boat, or a free boat is an expensive boat. And I think that there is a lot of truth to that. The way I see it is that this boat has a pretty ideal construction for what I'm doing. It's very simple. The keel is fully encapsulated. That is not a worry. There's no core to the hull. It's just heavy laid fiberglass. The fiberglass is about a 1/2 inch thick at the deck level and a minimum of 1 inch thick everywhere below the waterline. So it's very heavy built. And then all the substructure, the deck, the cabin top, all of that is laminated wood and heavy plywood. And it's all easy to access. It's all relatively cut and dry to fix. You can do it with basic tools. You can do it with readily available materials. Another factor was some of the things on the boat. You may have caught in the first episode, I didn't get a great shot of it, but there was a brand new monitor self-steering wind vane on the boat, and those are listed at $5,000, and I paid less than that for the boat. There was an old school kind of traditional paraffin stove. Those are pretty sought after. I was able to sell that and make a little money off of that. There were 6 or 7 anchors, tons of line, all kinds of random tidbits here and there. And a lot of that I was able to take to a consignment shop, and obviously they take a cut, but it's out of my hands. It takes no time away from me, and I was able to make a little money on that. And that moves me to the next thing, which is the junk rig. I have never sailed a junk rig. I don't know that I've ever even seen a junk rig sailing in my time sailing. I've always known about them. I've always understood more or less what the concept was. And I would say I'm very intrigued. I come from a very performance side of sailing. That is where the large majority of my experience is. I used to do a lot of racing, inshore and offshore. I did rigging, and that was all modern, fast boats. Morning, episode 5. Look at this. We are moving. We are grooving. Last few mornings, it's been really dewy out first thing in the morning. So last night I picked up this tarp. It's just a used one from someone else in the yard here, but covered up all the areas I thought I might be working on today. And turns out it just wasn't real productive. I think it's just not real watertight. So the water, all the dew just kind of settled through it. You know, can't really get sanding or glassing until things dry. So kind of is what it is, but yeah, let's get to work. So this is a departure for me, and this will be interesting. But let me tell you, I'm excited about that. I'm actually really excited about that. I think that is probably going to be the most fun part of the rebuild portion of my time with this boat. I'm very much looking forward to seeing what that's like, how things set up, how it performs, and then past that, how I can optimize it. I'm really looking forward to messing around with the leads, the purchases, the line work. I have a lot of past experience with rope work and splicing, and I understand that well. So speaking of, the boat being a type and construction that's very conducive to a DIY rebuild, the junk rig's perfect for that. It's incredibly simple. I do not intend to have a single winch or rope clutch on this boat, but it's going to be a lot of simple purchase systems and horn cleats, and that reduces the costs significantly, as well as the loads. When I brought the boat here, I don't think they thought I would finish it because they required a $4,500 deposit, and I get that deposit back when the boat goes back in the water. So you can't see it, but to my right over here is the area where they crush boats, and they throw them in a dumpster and they get thrown out. And those are boats not too dissimilar from mine, where, you know, they're broken dreams. They're boats where people came in thinking they were going to do this or that, and then in the end the boat was more or less abandoned, and it has no value at that point oftentimes. And then they take the valuable hardware off of it and they crush the boat itself. So that won't happen with me. I have reassured them that they will not be keeping my deposit. That is my money and I want it back. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope that answers some questions, clears some things up. If you have any further questions or want more clarification on anything, just leave a comment. I'm trying to respond to every comment. I value you guys very much. Your participation is really what puts value to these videos. So if you do feel inclined to contribute to the project, there are donation links in the description. The Patreon starts at $2 a month. And the idea being that if enough people can jump on board with that'll just add up. And I'm just working to a point where I can try and make this sustainable for myself. So the people that have jumped on board already, I've had, you know, a number of kind of one-off PayPal and Venmo donations. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. I'm up to 3 patrons, and that is so awesome to see that commitment from people in me and what I'm doing. So thank you all so much, and I will be back very soon with another video.